What's up, people? So, I did a video like this about a year ago where I talked about all of the common issues with the Jeep SRT, all the known issues at the time, and all of the warranty issues that I experienced with my 2015 Jeep SRT. Since then, it's 2019 now, it's almost 2020 in just a couple of weeks. I've had a 2018 Jeep Trackhawk for over a year now, and there have been some more issues or things that have come up that I wanted to add on to that original video. And you can see that original video. I'll have a link for you here up in the corner of your screen, or at the very end of this video, you can click on it and you can check it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to rehash, I'm going to talk about everything again, and I'm going to add to some of the major problems. So let's just say you're out and you want to buy a used Jeep SRT. It's very common. A lot of people want to pick one up. They don't want to spend full price. There are some things you need to look at or know in advance before you. I'm not trying to dissuade you from your purchase, but I want you to fully understand some of the things that fail, some of the things you need to look for, and some of the things that will help you ask the dealership, look on the Carfax. If it's from a private sale, maybe ask them, or actually just look for yourself in the vehicle. The number one biggest failing issue with the Jeep SRT between 2011 and now is the carbon fiber trim. The carbon fiber trim inside loves to warp, peel, and just fall off. It happened to mine twice in a matter of 3 years. It's an expensive replacement if it's not covered under warranty. So if you're in the market for buying a used SRT and you go to look at one, make sure you take the time to run your finger all along the edges of the interior carbon fiber trim. Feel to see if it's starting to come off. See if it's bowed. See if there's like any areas that are peeling. If there is, make sure you bring it to the attention of the person you're buying it from and say, hey, I want this covered. I want this replaced before I buy it. At least give yourself a year or two of peace of mind. If you're buying one from a dealership and you notice it, or even if you don't and it's not peeling, ask the dealership, is this carbon fiber trim still covered under warranty, and for how long? Get it in writing. If they don't want to put it in writing, walk away. But that's something that's just a headache. It's an aesthetic thing, but for whatever reason, climate doesn't seem to be the difference. People up north, people down south, people right in the middle, we all experience the carbon fiber trim peeling. As of right now, 20,000 miles into the Trackhawk, mine has not peeled in a Trackhawk. I don't know anybody with a Trackhawk that has had their carbon fiber trim peel or fall off. But if anybody has any knowledge of that, you can comment below in this, and this will help everybody out. You can read the comments below, people, once this video's been up for a while, and people will add on to some of these common issues. That's number one, okay? That's a minor thing. It's just more of a visual thing. Next, one of the biggest things plaguing the WK2 now, especially the 6.4 liter 392 Hemi, is the lifter failure. What's happening with this MDS, and the lifters are getting stuck, the cam is destroying it. It's what is known in our community as lifter failure. And it's an expensive fix. Upwards of $3,000 out of pocket. It's happening to a wide vehicle range, somewhere in the 50,000 mile range. There may be some unusual people that had the failure early and some that have not had it at all. But this is something that is coming. Unfortunately, it's more and more prevalent now in the Jeep SRT / Trackhawk community. Mostly the Jeep SRT, because the Trackhawks have not experienced this, obviously. But I keep reading these stories. A friend of mine just had it happen to him. He's getting his car back this week. A lot of people are experiencing this. Another good resource before I continue is to join Facebook groups that are Jeep SRT pages. You can read a lot of the issues, a lot of the problems, and a lot of the good things too, just by joining those pages. They are a wonderful resource. They are a wonderful resource for pre-buying your vehicle. You can go and you can find out a lot of good information. But the lifter issue is another one that worries me for other people who have high mileage WK2s, SRTs specifically. You know, it wasn't prevalent a few years ago when I had the vehicle, and then it just seems like now all of a sudden there's been a ton of people. All right, that's the next big one, and that's probably the biggest and most expensive failure that could happen. Number 3, water pumps. Now, Jeep has recognized that the water pump was an issue, and they extended the warranty to 7 years. The water pumps seem to fail between 35,000 and 50,000. I'm just taking a random ballpark number based off of all the people that I've seen. Mine failed at 39,000 miles, and you can tell that it's going to fail. I don't care what the dealership tells you, you can absolutely tell it's getting ready to fail. I was able to tell. We were on a long drive from Philadelphia to upstate New York, and this really strong odor of coolant started to persist in the cabin. I noticed that my temperature gauge was spiking over 221. It would go up, it would go down, it would go up, go down. There was no visible signs of any coolant leak at the time. There was no different sound. The water pump seemed to be working, but at that point, I was pretty confident that it was failing. I called the dealership. I set up an appointment. That Monday when we got back that weekend, I set up an appointment for Friday, and they told me on the phone that they would not replace it unless it was broken. Okay. Thursday morning, I got in the car, and it failed. It was literally rattling back and forth. You could hear what sounded like marbles or ball bearings inside, and you could see that the pulley was literally shaking back and forth, and a little tiny mist of coolant was coming out. All right. So you guys want to see what a water pump looks like when it goes bad? You can hear it, and you can see it right there. Okay, it's leaking. It's getting shot up all over the place. That right there, people. The water pump finally crapped out on me. If you have a vehicle that is starting to spike temperature-wise over 221, and then it would go down, it goes up, it goes down, or you start to smell a strong odor of coolant, it is very possible that your water pump is failing. All right, it's something to ask about when you go to purchase one of these. If it's a used SRT, is to say, hey, check the Carfax, ask the dealership, ask them if it's still covered under warranty, for how long. It's not an expensive fix. They cost a little over $100, but you got to get them installed, so you're looking at a couple $100 out of pocket. See if you can get that covered specifically. It just sucks that there was a batch of them, I guess, that was bad, and between 35,000 and 50,000 miles, that's pretty terrible. But a water pump is a maintenance item. It's not a warranty item. It's something that will fail. I don't know any car that just goes to 200,000 miles and doesn't have failure like this. And now I'm not blaming water pumps. I'm just saying that this is a maintenance type of issue, okay? But they do fail early, and Jeep identified it. Next, some things that are not very common that could happen. Your DRL ribbon in your headlight. Now, if you buy an older Jeep SRT, a WK2, the DRLs are in the bumper. There's a little bumper strip of headlights. That's your daytime running lamp. But on other Jeep SRTs, the DRL daytime running lamp is actually in the headlight. It's the ribbon. We still call the ribbon in the headlight the DRL. Okay, that's your DRL board. It's the DRL. They could fail. If you see one that's starting to turn blue, make sure you turn the lights on, check it. It's failing. You need to have it replaced, and it's an expensive item to have replaced. These headlights are close to, I think, $1,400 a piece brand new. $1,400 a piece brand new. If it's any of the LED portion of the DRL has any hint of violet or blue, make sure they replace that before you take ownership. It's failing. I had my vehicle, when it was brand new, had a bad headlight. Brand new. Had like less than 4,000 miles on it. Headlight failed. All right. That's an expensive item that you need to check. Another item that was very unusual for me that failed on my vehicle was the fuel door. Okay. Now, inspect the fuel door. pop it open, feel if there's like a lot of wiggle. It shouldn't have a lot of wiggle. And when you close it, if it's touching on one side, there's a big gap on the other side, chances are it's screwed up. See if they'll replace it. It's a cheap replacement. If not, tell them you want money off for it, because you're going to have to replace it if it goes bad. Some of them just look like crap. The body lines on the Jeep are not perfect. On any Jeep product, they're not perfectly aligned. So, you know, you get what you pay for. Unfortunately, even with their high-end vehicles, the quality control seems to be subpar, and sometimes, you know, on some vehicles. But definitely have it looked at, or definitely visually check yourself. See that it's operating correctly. Next, this was an uncommon failure. I don't know of anybody else that had this failure. Maybe people below will comment, but door actuator, you know, this part, ready? You hear that? The door lock failed to start working. It was the door actuator, they called it. Here on the driver's side door in the SRT that I had, and the passenger side rear failed. All within like 2 months of each other. I had both locks fail. That was a pain in the ass. Had to have those fixed under warranty. My blower motor, that was another one. A blower motor failed on me. Went to turn the heater on one day. Got nothing. Like nothing turned on. No motor. That was replaced under warranty. Another headache that is a non-common issue. I'm calling it non-common because I personally didn't know of a lot of people that experienced this. Was the GPS signal dropping out on the Uconnect. That happened to me at in year 3 of my ownership of the 2015. Right before I got rid of it, just for whatever reason, it was not picking up satellites. I don't know if the antenna had come loose or it was software related, but it was a glitch that would correct itself every once in a while. That was a huge pain in the ass because, you know, I travel a lot, and sometimes I want to just plug in the address and go rather than use my phone. And that was one thing that really irked me. It's not common, but it could happen. One thing with the Uconnect I do want to mention is that if you use a third-party charger for an iPhone, when this happened to me, I Googled it. It seemed to happen to a lot of people. Excuse me 1 second while I change lanes. I need to get all the way over. Sorry, people. Is if you're using a third-party non-Apple product charger, the Uconnect can lock up. This happens across the board. It happened in my Jeep SRT. It happened in my Trackhawk. I replaced it with a OEM Apple charger, and I've never had that problem ever since. I did look it up, and apparently a lot of people had this issue. It's a real easy fix. Don't use a third-party charger. It won't happen. I'm trying to think. Oh, okay, so here's another one that just recently happened. I never had this issue on the SRT, but I just experienced it with the Trackhawk. Was the blind spot monitoring system failure, or a glitch, I would say. It wasn't a failure. It started the vehicle, and I got a little warning notice on the dash. It popped up and said blind spot monitoring system temporarily unavailable. Started driving, and it started back. It fixed itself. I'm actually looking at it right now to make sure it's good. Then the very next day, I actually did a video on this. The very next day, I started the vehicle. Again, it came on. The amber triangle indicator light on the driver's side mirror locked up and froze, and it would not come back on. The system was temporarily unavailable. It just wouldn't work. Here, I had to readjust my mirrors and back on. I have no idea what was causing it. Excuse me. I have no idea what was causing it, but adjusting my mirror seemed to fix it. I did a little online research and found that other people had wires corrode or come loose in the back. There's a plug in the back that came loose. That was their problem. Excuse me again while I go around this slow-ass semi. There was an issue with the connection. Okay, a bunch of people chimed in on that video. I'll have a link for it at the end of this one if you want to see it. Also, you know, a very unusual glitch with 20,416 miles on this vehicle and over a year of driving. I have not taken it to the dealership for one warranty issue. The indicator lamp or the blind spot monitoring, it's been a week now since it happened. It's not come back. I didn't take it in to have it inspected. It's righted itself. Now, there are people that were chiming in on that video and online on the Facebook group saying, yeah, they just gotten used to just dealing with it. Now, what can I tell you? It's something that could happen. Other than that, with the Trackhawk, I have not had any other issues. Back to the Jeep SRT. I think I pretty much covered most of it. I wanted to update the video that I did originally, thinking about buying a Jeep SRT. Watch this first. It was based on all the issues that I had experienced, and it did not include the lifter issue, the lifter failure. That video has been up for quite a while now, and it's got a lot of views on it and a lot of comments. I really suggest you read the comments and read about what other people have experienced. This isn't to dissuade anybody from purchasing one of these vehicles. I'm going to buy another one. If this one had warranty issues, every car has warranty issues, some more than others. This particular vehicle has not had any, which is great. My last one had a bunch. The one before that was a Jeep, didn't have any. The one before that didn't have any. I guess it's hit or miss, luck of the draw, whatever you want to call it. But I'm very happy with my my vehicle. I would purchase another Jeep. I've owned a lot of Jeeps in the past, and they're a hell of a lot of fun. It's something about driving a powerful SUV that you can still take to the track if you want, or go grocery shopping, or take the family and kids on a trip, a long country trip, and beat up on people at the track. It's a lot of fun to drive. I think that covers it. If there's anything I missed, please, people, comment below. Help the community out by sharing your warranty issues, your misfortunes, what you did to fix it, what it was. Share that below. Help everybody out that's in the market or looking to purchase an SRT or even a Trackhawk. If there are Trackhawk owners out there that have had failures, post your comment below. Speaking of the Trackhawk, we'll touch on this for a brief minute before I end this video. I have owned it for a year. I broke an axle. It's not warranty related because we put a smaller pulley on here, larger injectors. We had it tuned by HHP. We're putting down over 800 horsepower. We went to the track, and a bunch of Trackhawks that we know of that are running over 800 wheel horsepower have had an axle failure. The axles can 100%, on 99% hold up the stock power. However, if you start modifying these vehicles to go faster, if you want to run 10s and 9s, the axle is the Achilles heel. G-Force makes a replacement axle, which are cheaper than the OEM axles, that are supposedly rated for 1,400 horsepower. I replaced both of mine. I have not had any issues yet. I also have not been back at the track since we had a failure, but that's something, if you're a modifier and you're looking to just jump right into a Trackhawk and you want to go, like I said, low 10s, even 9s, axles, you're going to need to beef up the axles. I also put a suspension kit on here. One thing that I didn't know, but I recently found out from Mike Beavers over at B. Woody Performance, is that the rear suspension primarily on a Trackhawk is no different than an SRT or a V6 Laredo or Limited or Overland. They're all the same. The control arms are the same. The sway bar legs are the same. It's best to beef that area up. One thing I noticed also after we put down all that power at the track, my rear diff had shifted a little bit. We went and put a rear diff brace on. I know a person that already put one on prior to racing his Trackhawk with similar power, and his diff had not shifted after putting the brace on. I also recommend the rear diff brace if you're going to modify an SRT or Trackhawk to put down that much power, because it's going to make your diff crooked. It's going to shift it, and that's not good. So I think that's pretty much it. Before we go, do me a favor, if you would, hit that like button. hit the little bell notification, share this video. Down here in the corner, please click subscribe. Over here I've got a graphic that shows you our other social media. Come join our Facebook group and our Facebook page. We do giveaways, we give away cash, we give away dash cams. It's my way of saying thank you for supporting me. Also, if you would like to donate $1 or support us, pledge $1 a month, we have a Patreon page now. It's in the description of this video. You can check that out. And if there's anything you'd like to ask me personally, send me a message below. If I don't answer within a few days, send me a direct message on my Instagram account. I always get those. Sometimes I don't get them on YouTube because of the way the algorithm is set up, and I like to answer everybody's questions. So one or the other, you can get a hold of me. That's it. You guys and girls be safe. That's all I got. I'm out.